Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brutus the Beefcake Barber Boy Part 3.
No, it's
I'm
four.
Part 4. I'm Dylan Leslie. That's
Edgar.
John Edwards.
John Edwards. Oh, you mean the guy summoning?
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yeah, the guy who. Oh, I'm connecting with someone. He has long garden shears, and he's following around a man who's saying why it's not okay to have sex outside your race.
Can we talk about in the research that at the very end of this saga, can we work backwards? Because I can't not discuss something right off the hop that we discovered in the research.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan and Ed Leslie stopped being friends because Hulk Hogan tried to fuck Ed Leslie's new wife, and she was like, "How about no?" And then apparently she's a real stuck-up bitch, according to Terry.
Where'd you hear that?
If you look at the end of the research, it's literally like,
Why are you ruining it? Why are you ruining the end?
Because fuck these people.
Why'd you tell us who Kaiser Sose was?
Because Kaiser Sose turned out to be a pedophile named
I
Kevin
don't fucking
Spacey.
care.
You do care about that. You do care about that.
All we have for the last fucking couple things is just going to be Ed Leslie drinking lake water and getting diarrhea, pretty much. So why would you ruin that?
No, we've not ruined one of the biggest curveballs in this man's story ever. Has not been ruined. Where that man ends up after wrestling is fucking wild.
Don't read Wikipedia. Stay with us for weeks and weeks instead.
Exactly. I don't think that's on Wikipedia.
So, check it out.
The year is
Brutus Beefcake comes back
face.
with a metal fucking face.
Yeah, he comes back with a metal fucking face, and Vince McMahon's like, you headbutt people. That makes you better than fucking Lex Luger with you don't have a bionic elbow. You have a bionic fucking face, and they're going to bring back the Dream Team, and then they just don't do that because Bruce the Barber Beefcake has no confidence in his wrestling abilities because, and I mean this, if he gets hit the wrong way on the top of the head, he will die. He will actually die. Get out of the fucking ring. What the fuck are you doing, Brutus?
I want to ask you this question. If this was now, if this exact injury happened, and then he came back wrestling in 2022, how quickly does he take an apron pile driver?
He takes it before he's still in the mask, and they're like, the only way that this would get crazier is that if the person under that mask was Bruce the Barber Beefcake. Hits it, his face literally explodes. They pick up the face off the ground, and they're like, it was him. He knows how to work. Dave Meltzer gives the match 3 stars because it wasn't good storytelling. Jim Cornette does a 19-minute YouTube video about it, in which he intimates that Africa should be exploded.
Yeah, he's like, Africa, I want to fuck someone there while someone fucking watches.
And then he fucking tell you something else about Somalia. Those fucking cunts should fucking die.
So, for Brutus's Beefcake one year, Marty Jannetty hired a little person to dress in lingerie, hide in his hotel room, and hump his leg when he returned with a girl.
Yep. By the way, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, it's finally settled that he is just given a interview segment a la Papers Pit, but it is the barbershop. Ladies and gentlemen, the barbershop is probably in terms of impactful moments taking place on it, is second none only to the Piper's Pit. In terms of, it is where?
Michaels,
Jannetty's Michaels, Sean threw Marty through a barbershop window and apparently went into business for himself by not walking off but standing there, basically implying that the good guys couldn't beat up the bad guys. But it worked out so perfectly Marty got thrown through a fucking window, and Brutus, we were told you were hurt. Also, Brutus the Barber Beefcake started what I like the best, which is even if you're doing an interview segment, fuck you. You still wear your gear to that.
I like that. Also, I think it makes sense. Like, I never watched that and thought the faces looked bad. I just thought they care about their friend.
Yeah, like it made all the sense in the world.
Their friend went through glass.
Yeah.
Which is like, only now are we getting people put through glass, and that's on like AEW, and it's in like crazy matches. Like, this is to go from like...
This was done in Hershey, Pennsylvania, in front of people that were like probably not even paying attention because they were also filming a Hulk Hogan interview at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, exactly. This is truly one of the greatest angles I mean, you say greatest, but like we were 7 at the time. It was a crazy thing to see at 7 when it's like you don't even see friggin' blood or anything, and then a guy's getting kicked through a fucking window.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
And like having segments like that where a little thing would happen and not like a huge thing, and looking back on it, the barbershop was essentially like having someone in an action movie just walk across the street holding a pane of glass for a long time.
Yeah. Great point.
It was the gun in the drawer. Anyway,
exactly. It was a real Ibsen's gun, Chekhov's pistol.
Early 93, Beefcake comes back to the WWF.
Yeah, so he leaves, by the way. The barbershop ends when Sid Vicious goes fucking crazy and smashes the whole place up and gets a bunch of powder on his face and just starts yelling Hogan. It's awesome. By this point, by the way, Brutus Beefcake's real gimmick is he's friends with Hulk Hogan and everyone knows it. And it's the weirdest, like, internet phenomenon pre-internet, because they're very much like, how do they all know this? And it's like, well, the only reason this guy would still be on television is if he was friends with fucking somebody.
But he's the last one because like Hogan has all his super friends of like Tugboat, Boss
Yeah, he's
Man.
the last, but like, and it seems like he's the real super friend.
He is the real super friend. He's also easier to put in jeopardy than those guys because he's much smaller, and all those other guys. And this is like 93 is when we're getting WCW is signing, like they're signing like people that WWF have like cast off in the early 90s, and now they're starting to sign people that are like actual fucking like people that WWF values. It's just Vince doesn't want them to wrestle anymore, like Macho Man.
Yeah, like Vince is just like, he's 37.
Yeah, and also you get the stuff where it's like IRS hits
Yeah,
Beefcake with a briefcase and
Briefcake. He comes back with a metal mask face. Teams with Hulk Hogan, his brother Brutus. You get the weird WrestleMania 9 ending. Hulk Hogan gets into his own boating accident, and to get past the Vegas fucking commission, they have to go like, oh, it's part of the gimmick, so to show that Money Inc. tried to attack us. They have possibly the worst match at the worst WrestleMania 9. That match is so. Bear in mind, that's the match where Giant Gonzalez takes a chloroform to Undertaker. And that match is a fucking steamboat flare compared to this fucking tag match that legit ends in Jimmy Hart taking off his jacket, revealing he's wearing ref stripes and counting 3, and the champions pretending like they won. It fucking blows.
Yeah, man. And this is a bad, because this is when they have one foot in the past and one foot in the future and just kind of aren't really committing to anything. Like Bret Hart's the champion, but also they just
clearly like Vince
keep on
hates
cutting.
that he's the champion.
Yeah,
like
keep on cutting his legs.
Yeah, he's like, he's just so, he looks like a woman.
But Vince is handcuffed because he can't. He'd just be like, why can't they all just do Tren? Why can't I just take a bit of steroids in my mouth and then make out with someone and then they have the steroids and it's hot and they get steroids? And it's like, because no, you're not allowed to do steroids. And what about the thing I could still harass? You could still harass, yes. Okay, fine. So 50% fun, but not 100%? And then he cried.
Yeah, and it's the only time he ever cried. Bring Shane in here. Let me show him what he should never do. Never.
Look at my eyes are broken. That's what he calls crying. Oh, you broke your eyes.
My eyes are broken like your mother. Pussy.
I didn't know this, but 1994. Did you know this? He was in WCW.
I didn't know that. You didn't
also,
know he was in WCW by 94? He basically.
No, I knew that. Yeah.
You fucking pranked me, man. That was fucking awesome. Holy shit! There's egg on my face now.
But this is something when Beefcake came back with Hogan and that injury angle and everything, that is very over Brutus Beefcake, and he's the last link. Like, just being Hulk Hogan's friend made you super over in that time, obviously.
Oh yeah, baby. Like, and Hogan leaving, basically it's like, and Brutus, I assume you, yeah, okay, I'll go with him. And
like, it's like, yeah, he's like a weird clause in his contract. It's like Pastamania, and Brutus not only is the manager of every Pastamania and gets paid like it, but he also is my tag partner.
Also, here's the thing to remember. Eric Bischoff, because he also wants to be Hogan's best friend, fucking hates Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Well, I get it because you're like, okay, this
83
is a
weeks,
super expensive contract, and then also you have to fucking sign this other guy. It's like,
hey man, can I
so
get
funny.
cigarettes from Ted? Like, you know that fucking Eric Bischoff's trying to do the middle negotiations, and Brutus is like, can we do our negotiations at a fucking Coco's, bro? That's cool.
Don't you think that there is an outside chance that this is just pure speculation, of course. I don't even know why I said it's because clearly what I'm about to say, but like an outside chance that Ed Leslie like almost ran WCW for a bit just by being more laid back than everyone else, and
That's
Ted
very
Turner's
possible.
like, it's such a like movie thing to have happen. Like, I like this guy's gumption. He came in a half shirt and what he said was cut off boxers, which really was just exposing his testicles and penis, but. He came in, he asked me why I don't have a mini fridge in here, and I said, I need a mini fridge, Mr. Leslie. That's actually very good. And then he said, what are those things from fucking hot dogs? They look like cocks. And I said, pardon me? He said, hot dogs. And I said, oh, okay. He said, you need like those chewy cock things, hot dogs you should have here. And I said, you're right. And that's how they got hot dogs in Costco.
Yeah, first of all, Ted Turner talks like the dumbest man. Well, shoot, I was just sitting in my office there, and this gentleman with a mulleted haircut, totally nude, but not tanned, which he said counts as wearing clothes, came into the boardroom, and one thing led to another, and he put his full penis into Brad Siegel's coffee. And I have to say that as the head of Turner Broadcasting, I enjoy seeing Brad humbled. That man is now in charge of WCW and the Atlanta Hawks.
He put his arm around me. First thing he said was, man, I used to jack it to your wife. And that's when I said, this guy I like.
Yeah. Shoot. I'll never forget when I had Brutus over for lunch, and Jane was there, and one thing led to another, and Brutus threw up on his own dick.
He said, that's stomach cum. My dick is going to make real cum, and this was my stomach cum.
If I cannot, I remember Brutus's quote. He said, if I cannot stick my dick in that, this hard-on's only going to come down with acid. And then he threw up our delicious buffalo steak lunch all over his own penis. And I got to say that's commitment. And that's how that man ran CNN from 2016 to 2019.
I would totally believe that. Oh, yeah? You think you're small-minded, Fox News? Well, we got this bag of cocaine with a fake tan, and it runs our fucking CNN now. So suck my fucking asshole.
Attention, motherfucking everyone! I am Ted Turner. I have dementia. John Rocker now in charge of the Atlanta Braves.
So.
Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not Googled John Rocker, he is if wrestlers played baseball.
He gave a pretty crazy. Is this on record? It is. Oh, sweet. I'm going to say every racist thing I've ever thought. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's basically, I think they were asked, like, do you like playing in New York? And he's like, I'll tell you what I don't like. All the people that live in New York that aren't white. You're like, okay, John.
Yeah, he on record in print said the word monkeys a lot, and he was not talking about teaching his kid to read. I'll tell you that. Anyway, this is something I hate about wrestling now is that no company will just bend over and like. I feel like AEW bent over and let CM Punk run wild on them.
Mm-hmm.
Bent over. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Laid on a bed of roses, and CM Punk pumped them a bunch for like how much money they paid him. But they didn't he didn't ask for any of the wild shit Hulk Hogan got, which would be like.
I mean, that's not. We don't necessarily know that. He sort of did. He was like, I would like to be paid
because he's not
$4 million, and
on a TV show.
I would also like to bite one of the people that's a vice president of this company.
I got to eat,
and I would also
eat an executive of my choosing. That was in his contract. I was like, oh fuck, I didn't realize. Sorry, we can't suspend you.
They're going through the investigation, and they're like, have you read CM Punk's contract? And they're like, not all the parts. And it's like, yeah, it turns out Ace Steel not only has to be fired, we have to go burn down his house.
But I just mean all right, if CM Punk would have got the same contract that Hulk Hogan did, not only would he have all of the pay-per-view money, not net, but gross that AEW made for all their pay-per-views this year, but he would have his own television show because Hulk Hogan had his own television show called Thunder in Paradise, and Ed Leslie was just on it. Like, can you imagine? Like,
Ed Leslie,
hey, I'm
so
just a
was
wrestler.
Vader, so was Sting.
I'm finally back in a wrestling company. I'm so excited to work with this new talent. Please keep punking around with me and Ace Steel, where we solve crimes the fun way.
Yeah. What do you mean by fun way? It's like
we shut down bars.
Yeah,
we shut down bars, and anyone that has a drink, we kill with a real knife, and they're hobos, and they don't exist, according to Tony.
Have you ever seen the episodes of Dragnet that were made in the 60s? Oh, the ones where every episode is them just trying to prove that the hippies did it? It's like, yeah, but that is with all substances you put in your body, including...
yeah. Pretty much Death Wish 3, the show. It's just I see a skateboarder, and then I shoot him. No, CM Punk wouldn't be like that. It would be like a guy in a collared shirt, and then he'd saw their head off.
He'd be doing that to a guy who put full cream in their coffee. This guy doesn't even
see his fridge when he won the title. He uses non-dairy creamer all the time.
Who wouldn't use
bad diet?
Creamer? He's a vegan.
Bad diet. Bad diet.
I did not see his fridge.
Chung M Punk. I just remember that from when he stole the title and they talked about what was in his fridge on Deadspin and made fun of it. Anyway, the writers never knew what to do with Ed Leslie on the show.
So much. Go ahead.
So Hulk would throw out ideas, and was such a big deal that they would say yes to whatever suggested to keep him happy. But Hulk didn't have time to properly develop anything because the writers were saying yes to ideas they didn't really like. This led to multiple ridiculous gimmicks and turns during his run. He added that he was grateful to have a job, of course, and didn't want to rock the boat by complaining. Ed Bischoff didn't like Leslie, looking at him as a waste of money. And when approached by Ed's third wife, that's good, for a book for his quote, the 2017 WrestleCon, this exchange took place. Missy, we are in the process of writing a Brutus book. I was wondering if you have anything nice that you might want to say about Brutus. No, I don't. That's the book
I love, and I have to say this,
though. Like, this guy wasn't a good basketball player, so you hate him as a person. Like, I mean, Eric Bischoff also just like always plays the heel because he said this on air a ton of times, but he will, and I've seen him do this on like indie, like back when they had like super nerd wrestling call-in shows where he would call in like before podcasts really took off, but he would just call in and be a fucking cunt to these guys because, and he believes this, and I believe it to be true too. It's like wrestling fans at the end of the day don't really want to know how the sausage was made. They want to like, you know what I mean? Like he just plays that a lot.
He's 100% correct. They want us. We want a certain idea of like we want the reality of the world to impinge on this world and affect it, but we don't actually want to know like that they're just like it. You know what I'm saying? And I get Eric Bischoff's point, but Eric Bischoff like does it to the extreme. Like he's at an actual funeral, being like, "I pissed in the cup."
Like, this priest does a bad job or something.
Yeah, that's exactly like it's weird details. Like he's at a christening and he's like, "I've seen prettier babies."
He always says "pretty." Now that's a pretty baby. He always uses weird coded sexual language. That's a hot baby.
Yo, Lee, let me say this about this prime rib. I would fuck it like it's a baby.
That's my reference. Yeah, and Bischoff also in the 83 weeks, like when that show started, I was like, okay, so by definition, this show really could only have like
83 episodes,
but also 3 interesting months of content because you're like NWO. It falling apart with Russo, how you started it, and some TNA shit,
and also being in WWE at that time. Like he was like the thing, like he was a WWE personality. Like he was the GM of Raw for like 5 years. Like there's a fair amount to him, but
he's not dumb enough to be like, I think it was bad and fuck them because he is smart enough to.
He's also smart enough to know what gets. So, like online attention in the wrestling media is when a guy.
That's why he went after CM Punk and said, 100%. "Oh, this guy's fucking."
It's why every 20 minutes he's like, "I'll tell you why this guy fucking sucks a dick because he's not fucking me, man."
Yeah. Here's what I see people tweet about a lot. I hate them now, I guess.
Yeah.
In 1994, Ed Leslie debuts for WCW. At first, he only made short appearances with Hogan, and referred to him as Brother Brudai. as they did when they were obviously tag partners in in 89 and 93. At Halloween Havoc, Hogan's cage match victory over Ric Flair, Leslie was revealed as the masked man who attacked Hogan just before his title match with Flair at Clash of the Champions. The angle was a play on, of course, Tanya Harding attacking Nancy Kerrigan. Leslie suddenly became the Butcher and formed the Faces of Fear with Kevin Sullivan and Avalanche. So that's Earthquake, Kevin Sullivan, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
This led to one of the most insane Starrcade things ever. This is, by the way, Hogan never gets the shit he deserves for this.
Mm-hmm.
He basically came in, ruined Flair. It was supposed to be a trade back.
Beat everybody.
Beat everybody, then brought in Ed Leslie to be his big Starrcade opponent, even when they had Earthquake there. Like it
turned Sting into an IC champion too. I think people forget that.
Turned Sting into an IC champion, and it's fucking nuts. And then and by the way, that match, probably the best Hulk Hogan Starrcade match ever. Like the match between him and fucking the Butcher is terrible, but it's still so much better than his matches against Roddy Piper the next year, where Roddy Piper's like,
oh, yeah.
well, I can't walk, but that's okay because I also can't stand because of all the drugs.
Oh, here's what I like. The Butcher continued wrestling for some time after the Faces of Fear broke up, but then he became, and where are these angles, John? Remember this from the 90s? He was a man with amnesia.
Amnesia was a real problem.
And he, in the 90s, people would get bonked on the head.
Oh, my God.
And they would have amnesia. Because we didn't know about CTE yet.
I was writing this joke out, which is like, I think that our generation is going to be the first generation that's going to really have to couch the making fun of the new generation in terms of not having hardship. Because say what you want about our adulthood, our childhoods were idyllic. Our concerns
100%.
were lava, quicksand, amnesia. Like, what the fuck?
It'd be like,
we weren't even concerned about pedophiles, and they were in every church and daycare center.
Well, also, I think people forget this is the amount of people that were like, sharks are going to eat you if you go on the beach.
Oh, my God.
Why don't you just not go to the beach? And they're like, but I like it.
You know how many sharks human beings killed last year? This is fucking nuts.
2 million.
100 million.
That's fucking crazy.
I did not think there were that many sharks, and I got to be honest, it's very possible that it was 10 million. But still, you're just like, holy shit, there's that many sharks?
In the millions is fucking crazy.
Because I was like, how do we have that many sharks? Like, right there, that kind of proves that we need to get out of the oceans. There were enough sharks that we killed 10 million of them, and we didn't notice? Holy
Jesus
shit.
Fucking Christ. Well, I think that's just like, hey, you want to know another stat on how we're destroying the whole Earth? No? All right, well, this one anyway. Anyway, Leslie rejoins as the new Dungeon of Doom with Kevin Sullivan, and this time he's the Zodiac. So this is
he's the Zodiac. Clearly, they were like, "Why don't we have a character that's like the Zodiac killer?" And they're like, "The never uncaught serial killer." Yeah, how do we do that? I don't know. He talks in binary, and he looks like a zebra. I mean, this is the greatest creative minds we've ever met in our entire lives. Everyone gets an S. That's a suck.
3 characters in the span of about a year, and here comes number 4 because.
Oh, the 4th is the best one. Okay, what are the 4
after
this is? Which is Brother Brutus, the Butcher.
Oh, no, I guess
Zodiac.
That's 5. Brother Brutus, the Butcher, the Man with No Name, the Zodiac, and the Booty Man.
Yeah, so because he's the Man with No Name and he leaves as the Faces of Fear. Then he becomes, then he has amnesia.
Then he gets Kimberly Page, which is how you can tell that they loved him and they needed him to succeed, and Hogan wanted him to succeed, is because he got Kimberly Page, who was one of the more over characters in that.
Because this is the pre-porn times, and so all the people that couldn't jack but wanted to jack were like, let's see this fucking piece.
I don't think it can be, as to gross straight man, I don't think it can be overstated how much hotter Kimberly Page was than everyone else on television. On wrestling television.
Oh my God, yeah. Like Kimberly, because also like you're like, who is that?
It's just like straight up
lady.
But it's like, yeah, and it's something that WWF always had to have context for why a pretty lady was on, but like seemingly WCW was like, this is a gorgeous woman and you are 11 and we've timed this perfectly.
Yeah, this hot lady is gonna hang out with this guy you recognize from earlier in your childhood. Good luck getting a boner, kiddies.
So anyway, when the NWO started, he tried. This is something I really liked that they did. He tried to join the NWO, but they were like, "No, you're a bitch."
Best NWO T-shirts where it was just the NWO letters and then the Terminator from the movie Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
Just fuck yeah. Yeah, this is the best NWO trivia, which is who gave them the spray paint to spray paint the belt the first time? Ed Leslie. Ed Leslie brought a birthday cake to to the ring at Hog Wild, and they spray paint.
Yeah.
There's a podcast about
At
Dylan
Cock
Ryan.
Crazy.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Penis Lovers.
So I guess is this 6 then? Or he was the booty man when he...
Yeah, they were basically like, it's just the booty man. They're like, well, look who it is. Of course.
How great would it have been if it had been like, and of course the 4th man, the booty man.
Yeah, and of course the 3rd man, the booty man.
Mm-hmm.
If they actually fuck it up, and it's
the Outsiders, and this guy fucking wants to lick your ass.
Yeah.
This guy wants to fucking deep tongue your poo hole.
Scott Hall and Kevin Nash came all the way from Stamford, Connecticut to take over your wrestling company, and they'll be helped by a guy who wants to literally lick out your asshole.
Yeah, he wants to see what you had for dinner 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, he wants to taste it.
So this is well, I guess we should take a short break, I guess, and then we'll be back because we're going to talk about something that changed my life and yours, John.
Is it what Brutus did after he was in wrestling?
No.
Okay.
Going to talk about the Desciple.
Oh, you mean the second man in the One Warrior Nation?
Yeah, the real impetus for the Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. After the break. Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of Brutus the Barber Beefcake, part 4. In the break, Dylan got coffee, and I checked out the Liver King's Instagram account.
What's Liver King up to now?
Oh, just fucking living by 10 and 10 of the ancestral 10.
Yeah,
Primal
nice.
10, pardon me. Have a little
weird
fun.
White supremacist fucking shit.
I mean, I got to tell you, my favorite feud of 2022, Joe Rogan v. Liver King.
I think it's pretty one-sided. It's just Joe Rogan saying, this guy's on steroids, and then Liver King being like, he noticed me.
Yeah, it's the best, because Liver King's like, got mentioned again by my favorite podcaster, and it's like, I fucking hate the Liver King, and I hope he's dead. It's so good. I enjoy it so much.
It's just so funny when guys are so clearly on juice. Like, Ed Leslie was never even...
Yeah, there was never doubt that Ed Leslie was fucking... He had 2 cups of juice with his breakfast, orange juice and steroids.
He returns on February 23rd, 1998, as the Desciple.
Woo. Yeah, he's got the Stone Cold Stunner. They keep calling it the Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
It's the best.
I love the idea, I love it when wrestling companies are feuding and they give the finishing move of the other company's best wrestler to some guy who just kind of sucks and it always gets kicked out of. I always think that's like such a good subtle thing.
Such a fuck
so
you.
Good. His true identity was revealed by Roddy Piper during his feud with Hogan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So for those of you who don't know, in WCW, they had this weird constant feud where Roddy Piper would basically like, wait a minute, you're just going to give me money even if I don't show up? And they're like, yeah.
Hold
and
on,
like,
I can mush my dick into fucking coke and you'll just fucking give me whoever. Let's go.
Okay, buddy. So sometimes Roddy would end up in the same cities as WCW, and he'd come out with a weird T-shirt that either said Icon or there was a brief span of
the
time.
reality check one was really
That
bad.
is exactly what I was about to bring up, which was reality check was in this period where he would just open his jacket and be like, I'm your reality check. And in that moment is where he revealed that Leslie was the Desciple.
The Desciple was it was good though, man. Like that as a way to like for the first time in this guy's life.
It made all the sense in the world that,
Yeah.
of course, Hulk Hogan has this shitty, weird, fucking heavy. Because this was kind of the best part of the NWO expansion that no one talks about, which is like Hogan's Gone Nuts creates NWO Black and White that fused with NWO Red and Black, which should have just been Kevin Nash becomes part of WCW, but they didn't do that because wrestling is hell.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things you would do differently about the NWO WCW stuff that led to WCW going under. I mean, maybe them just being sold led them to going under, but
the only
none
mistake
of it.
I can get detect.
None of it would be having Ed Leslie as the Desciple because
Disagree.
that was.
Yeah, they figured it out. Who should be in charge?
Check it out. How did he get on Warriors' side?
Oh, the warrior kidnapped him and then brought him from the other side.
Yeah, I love that kid being a kidnapping. So no, they say
This is
abducted.
another thing that for our childhood, it really shows that like
A lot of
kidnappings.
kidnappings back then.
A lot of kidnappings that really worked out. Like, yeah, we kidnapped him, but turned out he liked it. You're like,
It's
what?
fucked. You know what I never thought of? Because you're talking about Liver King. It's fucked how we missed out on, just by Ultimate Warrior dying, we missed out on the Ultimate Warrior maybe becoming one of those weird, grifty fitness
Oh
people.
my God. Ultimate Warrior would have been a
Having his
billionaire.
own weird fucking... Yeah, having his own weird fucking protein powder that's actually just like a bunch of stuff from leftover carburetors.
The Ultimate Warrior in COVID, that would have been
Oh, yes, when he just blamed it all on Islam.
ultimate
100%.
QAnon warrior, baby.
Oh, fuck, that would have been fucking good.
We would have looked back on that queering video like it was the Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech compared to if Ultimate Warrior was alive in the time of COVID. He would have been one of those guys that was like, "This is fake" in March of 2020. The only other guy, like,
oh yeah, immediately it was fake.
yeah, like those guys were my favorite guys. They were like, "Yo, this ain't real," and it was like I haven't even heard. I hadn't even heard of COVID, and they were all like, "This is pandemic, bitch."
Dude, this is great. He became, Ed Leslie did after he leaves WCW. He became a jobber, after the Warrior left, and they ditched, obviously, the One Warrior Nation storyline.
Yeah, of course.
After retiring, he became a part of a Christian wrestling group, World Impact Wrestling. I can't believe I didn't watch any of that beforehand. It's probably just Ed Leslie with his dick out telling people abstinence is the best choice.
I watched the second ever event featured Ed Leslie just beating the shit out of a guy with a cross.
My favorite. And then immediately really good stuff. No specific year on this, but when Missy Hyatt put her softcore porn site featuring women of wrestling online, Beefcake arranged and attended the shoots.
Of course.
I want to see these fucking titters.
Yo, you're good. Take out your fucking milk bags. Take out your milk bags.
Can I say this? Can I say this? Can we do all those? Can we do it all on a dock? Because I want to see your tits while I'm on a speedboat. So when I see those nipples, I rev the engine and race myself to jack off. I win. One evening.
There is nothing more disturbing than involving speedboats and sex.
You're not going to like this next one. He once had an evening with Missy Hyatt, which involved accidentally setting her hair on fire at a bar and chasing her around naked, role-playing, tripping over, and landing on his erect penis. He also details her enjoying hair pulling and spanking in his book. Comments?
No comments. I got to say this about Missy Hyatt. Missy Hyatt seems like she was put on this earth to do one thing, and that was appear at the end of most research about wrestlers on this program.
Missy Hyatt, who, good Lord. Anyway.
If
So,
wrestling,
February 2004.
how about this? If wrestling was the London Tube map, Missy Hyatt is Bank Station, because you never know how that's going to intersect, but you know you're going to hit it, baby.
2004, Ed Leslie caused an anthrax scare.
This is exactly what I was talking about at the top of the episode. Let's get into this. Ed Leslie has one of the movie The Wrestler's second act. By the way, we almost have now eclipsed. If you type in wrestler review into Google, we now almost appear at the top of that page as opposed to what you used to get, which was just a bunch of articles reviewing the movie The Wrestler.
Anyway, continue, John.
So Ed Leslie meets some woman he marries that in his book he is not kind to. And
another whore who didn't like being cheated on, or someone who flushes. Oh, yeah, I'm not a beta cuck. I don't flush my dumps.
Yeah, I put them in the fridge.
You look at that fucking poo, because that's the poo that bought you your dinner, you spoiled whore. Anyway, yeah that's my mom.
Can I borrow $50? I got to buy some slut dinner. Anyway, so his ex-wife moves to Boston to take care of a 6-Fred bracket breakup with Brutus bracket. And Brutus results in, I know what I'll do. I'll move into my in-laws' attic, and I will work for Boston Metro. So he starts being a ticket taker in a toll booth in some part of Boston that apparently had a lot of prostitutes and bums, according to every time he's told the story. And he either did a bunch of coke in the toll booth or left a powdered aspirin somewhere. Either way, one of his employees
After you're done this, I'll read the excerpt. Continue.
Yeah. And then either way, one of them put their hand on that surface and ended up with a bunch of white powder on their body. And Brutus got fired for what he claimed no reason, and what they claimed was him doing blow while he was supposed to be taking people's transport tickets. And I got to tell you, Brutus the Barber Beefcakes explains why a friend of Dylan and mine's has been able to ride with the Toronto subway system going on now a decade by simply just walking over the barriers and flipping off the ticket taker.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you just don't pay. Anyway, after his wrestling career this is from the article, began dwindling down in the 1990s, Leslie bounced between jobs for a while before settling at the Metro Boston Transit Authority. I was stuck in a toll booth in Chinatown with the prostitutes and the bums and the rats, he says. You cannot imagine the filth I had to endure. You had to endure. You're Ed Leslie.
You're in a chair. Like, the other thing is...
Do you know how jarring it must be to see a fat guy with a full orange tan in a toll booth for these people?
With a mullet with so many different skull rings and cool earrings.
Also, like... people from the country think that, like, going into a subway station is just, like, crazy people. It's not. It's just a bunch of people with backpacks listening to AirPods.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
There might be, like, one mentally ill person on the train, and even they keep to themselves. Usually, you're weird. There's no way that Ed Leslie wasn't the weirdest-looking person on there. Anyway. He lived in his father-in-law's attic to save money and hated the MBTA. In 2004, he says he left a white powder aspirin, great stuff, in a toll booth, and it spilled onto another employee's black sweater. Just classic you got caught at home with drugs thing, you know what I mean, from high school. It was aspirin, and it spilled. She called the police, and the station was closed for fear of anthrax. At the time, the MBTA Deputy Police Chief Thomas McCarthy announced that Leslie had admitted cocaine possession and cooperated with police. Leslie wasn't charged for any crime, but he was found in violation of MBTA's drug policy and was fired. Leslie tells a different story. Do you really think if I was caught with drug, they wouldn't have arrested me? The police going to go, okay, Mr. Beefcake, go home with your drugs. It's very presumptuous.
They're not calling you Mr. Beefcake. Yeah. I love that he's like, right this way, Mr. Beefcake.
Mr. Beefcake.
Oh, well, don't mind if I do. I am Mr. Beefcake.
Pardon me, I'm Mr. Beefcake. It's so funny to think, like, and the cops who were definitely fans of mid-card 80s, 90s wrestling. Anyway, he admits entering rehab and learned a lot from the process. Anyway, and then he talks about Benoit's murder.
Oh, yeah, of course he does. Let me tell you who's definitely going to have hot takes on all the controversial subjects. Ed Leslie. I would like to start a new podcast. I'm going to announce it now, which is wrestlers give takes on the things you don't need to hear from them. Ed Leslie on the deficit. Why don't we fuck it, bro?
Yeah, you force them to not do shoot interviews. You force them to tell you what they know about photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Synthesis. There you go.
Ed Leslie, I'll give you $1,500 if you can tell me who Alan Greenspan is. He's the guy who sucks my dick, man. Give me that money.
Okay, just fucking spell diarrhea, man. Spell it. I will give you 2 G's right now. You spell
come
diarrhea.
on, man. I know there's a D. That's worth like $8.
I'm gonna say it's one of them trick words, so the second letter is Z.
Yeah. D-H. How about you fucking know I could suck? I'll show you how to suck your own dick.
So anyway, he also gives an accounting of it, which is probably insane. And we're not gonna anyway.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the big thing to talk about, we talked about at the top of the episode, is he also is no longer friends with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan essentially had a giant falling out with most of his friends in the post-divorce period, probably because Hulk Hogan's ego was so nuts at this point, and he, as exemplified.
I want to cut you off because he did work at a pool company.
Oh, that's correct. 1,000 apologies. Yes, he did. He did get the most Florida of jobs.
It's good for everyone listening to this to just close their eyes and just imagine Ed Leslie looking like he looks now, dressed as the Zodiac, working in accounting, which was what he was doing. And the worst is when
1 2 1 1 0.
They need to prove to you that they used to be cool, and he's like, You know, I got my dick sucked on a boat. And everyone's like, yeah, man, I just want to. Here's another place I got my dick sucked. Yeah, man,
It's it's weird.
I'm just trying to keep my head down and do my job.
It's weird you do accounting because I had a run-in with accountant once. Hit me in the face with a briefcase. It was on TV.
It was on TV. You watch wrestling? No.
I guarantee there's a lot of.
I want to tell you these stories still.
Yeah, there's a bunch of gum chewing like this. You ever seen someone's tits in a hot tub?
2009. Oh, Ed Leslie for sure just was like, all right, I'll do the accounting. I'm accounting on getting some dick sucked in one of these tubs. Anyway, you can't sell these anymore. All right, fine.
Yeah,
and as I know, you can fucking nut in these and they will still work.
I guarantee
right in the fans.
Ed Leslie was the best pool salesman that company ever saw. Like he had all the right questions. He's like, let me ask you this. If someone comes in and they're like a stepmom who's recently gone through a divorce, I'm allowed to get them to suck me off in my car, right?
Okay, they say it's the R word anymore, but I still say it all the time. It is. Ed, please come over here.
No, I want to say it. No, you can hold me back. You can't hold my mouth shut, motherfuckers.
Anyway, he competed in 2009. This guy worked at a pool company in 2005. In 2009, really hoping he's still working at the pool company because he loses to a competitive eater in celebrity boxing.
Who's the competitive eater?
Bill L. Wingador Simmons.
Is that the guy that used to dress in American flag stuff and then eat the shit out of some hot dogs on the 4th of July?
I don't know. I do know he was not even. He was a local competitive eater. Bill Wingador. So he just was a fat guy from town in Philly.
So he's just a fat guy from Pennsylvania.
Which doesn't mean he's not better at fighting than a lot of professional wrestlers.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'll look up Bill Wingador Simmons right now. You should do, actually. We'll both do it at the same time.
So here's the fun thing about what I will say about Ed Leslie is Ed Leslie at least seems like he's having some fun. Like he just seems like he's happy. I just do this. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like he's just kind of like, life has continued at speed. I'm enjoying my time. Suck my dick. So I just enjoy it.
Bill L. Wingador Simmons, unable to get, this is the latest story. He had a bail of 100 G's.
Why wouldn't you?
For dealing cocaine. So that's pretty. I mean, Christopher Hobson saying you lost to a competitive eater is one thing. You lost to a coke dealer.
Yeah.
No shame in that.
Yeah. Look, I've lost so many things to a coke dealer, like hundreds of dollars in exchange. Yeah. I mean, it was, let's be honest, I was there, Dylan. It was our 30s and 40s.
Oh, yeah, let's go, baby.
And we're not even 40 yet. Snorted off my day.
This one hits home. November 7th, 2013. Ed Leslie appeared at Toronto City Hall with a pair of shears.
Oh,
and a
yeah,
sandwich.
baby. And what did he want to do?
Rob Ford needed an intervention in the wake of the crack scandal. Rob Ford got caught smoking crack. Leslie offered to be Ford's angel of mercy. Maybe if he gets his body right, he'll get his mind right. And security escorted him from the property. Because you know what he was trying to? What was he trying to do?
He was trying to get Rob Ford in rehab with his help with Iron Sheik. Oh no, an arm wrestling contest with Iron Sheik? No, I don't know then.
No, he was promoting his own brand of subs.
Oh my God, is that true? The Brutus the beef subs?
Yeah, Brutus the beef subs or whatever.
Brutus,
that's good stuff.
Beefcake, submarine.
Okay, now we got to get to the really good stuff. You can look that up while I'll do this. Man, this is dope that he's had so many weird things happen to him. So this is on the Sean Mooney podcast about the fallout from the Hulk Hogan beef he had.
The company is called Belly Buster Subs.
That's good.
And it is it has one location. It's in Oregon. Good. It's not even where he lives, this fucking dick. I fucking hate him so much.
Being like, it'll be worth it.
He drove northwest, found a one sandwich place he liked, and then drove east looking for
how much money
breasts.
do you think? I think he was paid $100 maximum.
I think he was given
and he got like half off of the sodas. Not even.
I think he
deal.
misheard what they asked him to do.
Man, he's exactly what you want from a wrestler. And I will say, Like he had 6 gimmicks in 3 years.
It
and he
is
fucking,
a woeful travesty. This man
love
did
this
not
man.
spend time in ECW. This man is the best.
dude, the fact that this guy did
How-
this submarine sandwich thing for
The
like
fact-
max $100.
It's in a state he's not from and wasn't living in at the time.
He legitimately he did risk getting arrested in a foreign country for this. Great. There's nothing bad because he technically entered a government building with a weapon because he entered with the shears.
Oh, I love this man.
So they could have been like, we're charging you with like attacking the mayor.
Nobody
done
tell Brutus the Barber Beefcake about January 6th, or he's going to show up now trying to help.
With subs?
Yeah, with subs.
This is the best goddamn sub I ever had.
Holy
I want
fucking
Nancy Pelosi to try this and tell me it's not the best sandwich she's ever had. Anyway, so here's the 2017 thing with him and Hogan. Where he revealed that him and Hogan aren't friends anymore. Things change. He changed a little after he split up with his wife. He became a little different. He was on his own, and I was still married, but mine was going bad too. I met a new person in my life, Missy, and we were hanging out together, and things were good. Then we all got together. I was thinking about trying to get back into Florida and get reestablished here, and then all of a sudden, bam, there was an incident. Some words were exchanged between Neri and Missy, and that conversation caused a huge rift, and things started going bad at that point. He didn't know her. They had spoken on the phone a million times. It wasn't like he wasn't familiar with her. When she got here, maybe he had some perceptions about her, thought she was wilder than she was. I don't know. He said some things to her, maybe about getting together, but Missy wasn't into all that kind of stuff, so Missy shut him down big time, and he didn't take it well. It's like ever since that, Lord says forgive and forget, you know. But I guess he wasn't able to move past it. If he's got a problem with her, he's got a problem with me. I talked to him on the phone one Christmas a couple years ago for an hour. He says that he's into God and all this and all that. Well, brother, there's got to be some way we can work this out so that we can get along on a social level. Can't we just bury the hatchet? Basically, he said, no, we can't. And I go, that makes no sense whatsoever. What do you mean? Let's just move on, grow up, whatever. And he said, I couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And basically, that was the last I talked to him.
Yeah,
And
Hulk
then
Hogan wouldn't
what
let
happens after that?
he wouldn't let him fuck Brutus's new girlfriend. So he stopped being friends with him because Hulk Hogan's at the end run of his fucking narcissism. And then
Well, it's also like
and
his
then-
whole life, Hogan's been doing better than this dude, and now this guy's like in a happy marriage with a stable life. And
yeah. And also,
he
by the
wants
way,
to,
like
blow that up to be better, I guess.
Yeah, still not better than Hulk Hogan's still a millionaire. Like the thing is, like Hulk Hogan's like, that divorce fucked me up, bro. And it's like, you made all that money back so fast. Like, shut the fuck up. Like,
Well, it's more, yeah, exactly. Narcissist, like, someone's choosing to not have me, I'll show you.
yeah, I'll
I'll
just
fuck
not
my fucking best
What's-
friend's wife, I guess.
Yeah, what's so funny about Brutus too is he was like, yeah, he didn't want to be friends with me anymore after I wouldn't let him. My girlfriend wouldn't fuck him just because of who he is, and you know, it's sad. I miss him, and you're
They
like,
have now reconciled, and to top it off, in what I feel is the greatest thing I could possibly add to the end of this, and I hope it's true. It's probably not. Ric Flair claims that he
nothing. I was going to end on this as well. The reason why they fell apart
stole
is
from his house.
yeah, which is
Stole
clearly
jewelry.
that's Ric Flair. Ric Flair's he's like Ric Flair clearly stole jewelry from Hulk Hogan's house and is like, woo! I see an opportunity. I'm getting blamed for this. Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah, and then I heard he stole jewelry from him.
Ooh, I heard he stole jewelry, and then Hulk Hogan sent Ric Flair a sandwich in the mail or whatever. I don't know. I'm just hungry, Hulk.
And then whatever it means, and then whatever he also did all that stuff they told me that I did on the plane. Woo.
Do you ever think that Ed Leslie and Arn Anderson have phone calls where like, remember when we were the losers?
I think that Ed Leslie is the greatest wrestler we've ever covered in our lives, and I think that we could learn a lot from him, and what we could learn is just fucking literally coast, do a little bit of blow, but if you're going to do blow, don't do it at work during an anthrax scare.
As it turns out, those are words to live by. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Wrestler Review. Dylan, best thing about Brutus the Barber Beefcake, in my opinion, he existed. Worst thing, he will die one day.
Getting caught with coke on working for the subway.
And he blamed it on...
the other best thing is the booty man stuff, and the worst thing, once again, is the casual homophobia and sexism. But
I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I'm gonna say that the worst thing about this man is that he will one day die. Best thing about him, his whole life.
You can't get a man like this without him having casual homophobia and sexism.
Cannot.
I'm sorry. I wish you could. I wish there were woke versions of this guy, but there is not. So the racism, the sexism, the homophobia, it's all wrapped up in a package where, at least by his example, if you do those things, you look like a garbage piece. You look like a fucking pumpkin that used to do steroids. At least that's the last part. John, Next week we're doing someone else who's going to suck.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this, because at least this man wasn't directly involved in crimes. Indirectly.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, of course.
We'll be doing Inoki next week, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Inoki.
Which is much more serious than Brutus, but also whatever.
So much less serious.
Sucks.
Oh, my God. Antonio Inoki, I think, is my favorite wrestling narcissist. I think, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm excited to learn more about him.
As am I. Next week, we will continue to attempt to crown who is King Narcissist of Selfish Island. I believe it's going to be Antonio Inoki, because he literally almost created relationships between Japan and North Korea so he could win a city council, so he could win a parliament seat, and then it didn't work out, and so fuck them. Oh my God.
That's so good. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, guys. You can get John at the John Hastings. I'm at Dylan Gott, and we're at Wrestler Review on most forms of social media. Thanks for donating to the Patreon, and enjoy your week.
Everyone, we love you. Thank you for the Patreon donations, and we thank you all for listening. Fuck you.